Take a look at the phones around you. For the last few years, the major flagship releases have followed a very predictable rhythm. Designs look the same, cameras get marginal spec bumps, and the result is a massive wave of consumer fatigue. That fatigue is exactly why my feed is flooded with videos calling the new OnePlus 14 an iPhoneKiller. But labeling it as a direct replacement assumes both phones are chasing the exact same user experience. In reality, OnePlus is attempting a divergent path of optimization, prioritizing raw speed and hardware power over the universal reliability Apple has mastered. This phone focuses on specific hardware wins, like thermal management and touch latency, that deviate significantly from the iPhone's more conservative roadmap. The decision to switch comes down to which set of daily compromises you are prepared to manage. We all want tangible hardware innovation, but we also feel the friction of leaving an ecosystem we already know how to use. This chart maps out how companies approach that tension. Apple prioritizes zero-friction reliability, sitting high on convenience but lower on hardware risks. The OnePlus pushes hard to the right, prioritizing raw speed at the expense of the ecosystem safety net. On a typical Tuesday afternoon, living in that high-performance, lower-convenience quadrant means your games load instantly, but you might spend 5 minutes figuring out how to share a large video file without AirDrop. To align a $1,400 investment with your actual habits, we need to break down exactly what that trade-off looks like across the 4 things you do most. Let's start with the screen. The OnePlus 14 uses a 2K OLED panel, layered with a highly tuned touch response matrix. The physical outcome of that hardware is a sense of near-instantaneous responsiveness. When your fingertip strikes the glass, the software reacts without the microscopic lag we've just accepted as normal on other devices. But visual speed requires processing power, which generates heat. OnePlus prevents the phone from thermal throttling under heavy, sustained loads. You can push titles like Call of Duty Mobile for an hour without the frame rate dropping or the phone burning your hands. Looking at our comparison matrix, under display and gaming, OnePlus secures an advantage in sustained performance and zero latency input. By contrast, the iPhone experience is adequate for general use, but is prone to dimming the screen and thermal throttling under similar gaming loads. The trade-off is clear. Competitive gamers gain massive daily utility here. But if you primarily use your phone to scroll social media feeds, you are paying a premium for extreme processing overhead you will never actually utilize. The second major hardware divergence is power management, driven by OnePlus's proprietary ultra-fast charging protocol. The measurable outcome here is aggressive. You can take a dead battery to 100% in a matter of minutes. We are conditioned to leave our phones plugged in on a nightstand for 8 hours. This technology shifts that habit. You plug in during a short daytime break, like grabbing a coffee, and you're fully topped up. Removing the requirement for overnight charging eliminates the psychological weight of a low battery. You stop checking the percentage because a full refill is always just 10 minutes away. Bringing back our matrix, we add power management. OnePlus provides lifestyle freedom and low battery anxiety. Meanwhile, Apple keeps you firmly tethered to the standard, slower overnight charging routine. But there is a penalty to this freedom. To get those insane speeds, you must carry OnePlus's exact proprietary charging brick with you everywhere you go. A standard USB-C laptop charger won't trigger the fast charging. Moving to the cameras, OnePlus retuned their image sensors to prioritize shadow retention and atmosphere. For still photography, this results in cinematic depth, especially when shooting in night modes, where the shadows naturally ground the image. However, Apple still maintains dominance in video recording consistency, and their native optimization for creator apps like TikTok and Instagram remains unmatched. Updating our matrix for camera utility, OnePlus takes the edge for cinematic stills, while Apple retains the crown for video consistency and app optimization. And for our final row, software and ecosystem, we compare OxygenOS's deep customization against Apple's frictionless integration. Using OxygenOS daily means you have granular aesthetic control over your interface, aggressive AI battery management, and the freedom to multitask across multiple windows. But the friction of leaving iOS is immediate. You lose iMessage, the convenience of AirDrop, and the seamless clipboard synergy between your phone and your Mac. The ultimate software trade-off is a choice between an untethered, highly tailored sandbox and a perfectly integrated but more restrictive walled garden. The OnePlus 14 is a specialized tool. It trades away the generalist safety of the iPhone for aggressive, targeted power. This brings us to a final decision framework. To make the right choice, identify your primary smartphone friction point. If your main frustrations are stagnant processing speeds, dropping frames in heavy games, and constant battery anxiety, then you fit the profile of the agnostic optimizer. The OnePlus 14 will feel like a more exciting and capable daily driver for you. But if your daily routine relies heavily on shooting consistent video content or moving files across a desk of Apple devices, then the friction of breaking those workflows will negate any raw hardware speeds you gain. You are a deep Apple user, and you should stay put. Ignore the benchmark scores. Look at your daily routine, identify your real friction points, and choose based on reality.